Howdy, howdy, and welcome to the Tea Weasel, where I pair teas with movies for your enjoyment. I am your hostess, and today we'll be looking at That's right, Willy's Wonderland, a Finasque-esque Nicolas Cage movie. What else could you possibly want from a movie except maybe...
Hey kids, do you know what time it is? It's birthday time.
Punch. It's a fistful of caffeine to your kisser.
Punch Pop may not be a thing, but that doesn't mean I can't take inspiration from the source, which I'll go into a bit more here in a little bit. I love Willy's Wonderland. This movie is fantastic. I watched it like 6 times before I decided to make a video for the movie. And then another 3 times while figuring out all the stuff I wanted to talk about and preparing for this film. The first thing I want to say about this movie is, although there are plenty of action scenes, they're not particularly gory. Nicolas Cage's character, the janitor, fights mostly animatronics in the film, so it's mostly sparks and oil, for the exception of the occasional cannon fodder character. What's that, Charles? I shouldn't refer to humans as cannon fodder? But that's what they... Fine. For the exception of the occasional human that dies, it is sparks and oil. Because humans don't have that. And according to my research, one second, they need their blood inside them. So break out your spoiler-proof mug, because we're about to talk about this movie. This movie opens up on a family being chased throughout Willy's. The mom and dad hide their daughter, which we later discover to be Liv, the main female protagonist in this movie. She is actually then raised by the town's sheriff, more trapped there than anything, unable to stop Willy's until conveniently when the movie starts. And then we see Nicolas Cage driving a car around and drinking the infamous Punch Pop until he runs over, those little tire spiky things police use during chases. Well, he then waits there for quite some time in order to get towed. Meanwhile, Liv, all grown up, is about to burn down Willy's. She squats down, about to light it, and then she hears the sirens. It just kind of stops, even though literally all she has to do is drop the match and it's over. Talk about quitting at the last second. The sheriff then takes her back to their house and handcuffs her to the radiator so she can't go anywhere. Jed picks up Nick Cage from the side of a road, and on the way into Hayesville, he swings by the sheriff's house to let him know he found the zigzags. While he's talking to the sheriff, Nick Cage's character and Liv share a prolonged look at each other. Jed then drives off to his shop, where Jed tells him he can fix all the issues, but it's going to cost like $1,000. Not having the cash, he whips out his credit card, and Jed says they don't accept it. Their ATM also doesn't work because the whole town doesn't have internet. Because. Jed then tells him he can work it off though by doing some light cleaning overnight. I guess where? Say it with me now. At Jed's house. I'm just kidding, it's totally Willy's. Agreeing to this, Jed takes the janitor over to Willy's where he meets Tex.
Howdy there, partner. My name is Tex, same as the state. Got the handle McAdoo.
Tex then explains the history about why it was closed and his plans for the future with it. He gives him a Willy's Wonderland t-shirt and tells him he's officially on staff. And although the sun is still high in the sky, Tex says it's about to get dark, so they head on out and lock the door behind them with the janitor in there. After locking the janitor in the building, Tex tries to light a cigar, but his lighter doesn't work. So rather than refill it with lighter fluid, he just yeets it over by a trash can, where I'm sure it won't come full circle at all. During this time, Liv's cannon fodder friends free her from being handcuffed from the radiator to go burn down Willy's. Liv, being the decent human that she is, says we should probably get that guy out of there first, because he's a human being. As Liv and her friends travel over to Willy's, the janitor starts cleaning. He goes into the kitchen and starts cleaning things. There's actually a pan where it's looking up at his face as he cleans the lens, and there's a little piece of duct tape on his face that's not supposed to be there yet, because it comes from his battle with Ozzy the ostrich. Which happens a few moments later. The janitor then goes back to the main stage area and starts mopping. Then Ozzy the ostrich steps down from the stage, walks on up to Nicolas Cage and lets him know he's going to eat his face. Ozzy takes a peck and manages to put a scratch on the janitor's face. This naturally, of course, makes the janitor upset, so he decides to relieve Ozzy of his spine. Now drenched in oil, the janitor gets a new t-shirt and puts duct tape over his cheek like we saw earlier. By this point, Liv and her friends have arrived and are trying to warn the janitor of danger. But he does not pay attention to them and goes back to cleaning. Liv has the bright idea of breaking in to warn him about the killer animatronics. Liv breaks into Willy's through a vent on the roof, and while crawling around in the space above, she runs into Artie the alligator, who somehow got up there. Trying to get away from Artie, she falls through a vent into Siren Sarah's area. Try saying that 3 times fast. Siren Sarah, Siren Sarah, Siren Sarah. I guess it wasn't that hard after all. The janitor hears the noise and goes to investigate. That's when she once again tries to warn the janitor of the danger, and he does not seem to care at all. Outside, Liv's fodder friends, fine human friends, decide it's not safe for her to go in there alone, and they should try going after her. They go onto the roof, and their combined weight makes them fall through the roof, landing in a ball pit. Most likely getting pink eye, but I don't know for sure. Another song plays. This time Artie the alligator is missing, but Siren Sarah is back. Liv then tells the janitor the dark history of Willy's Wonderland. How it was owned by a bunch of serial killers. And rather than being taken to prison, they decide to do the old cliche satanic ritual, transferring their consciousness into the animatronics. Classic avoid prison stuff. While Liv was expositioning, Bob and Kate ran off on their own to have relations, breaking the second rule of every horror movie: never leave a group. After Liv is done telling the story, another song breaks out from the band. Only this time, Nighty Night is missing. At the end of the song, Nighty Night takes his sword and plunges it through one of her fodder friends' chest, killing him. At the same time, Bob and Kate notice Artie standing in the corner. They don't pay attention why they continue to have relations, until he disappears, killing them while they have relations, The janitor gets off his break beats up Nighty Night, uses his own sword to decapitate the animatronic, and then finds Artie the alligator and does that cool thing where, you know, like, you take both sides of a jaw and just break it, and then goes in and just, like, removes stuff. It's a really good thing these are animatronics, otherwise this would be super gory. During the attack with Nighty Night, all the fodder friends ran away. One of our friends goes to a very epileptic-inducing room, and I don't remember his name because he had like maybe 2 lines before dying. Chris runs into the arcade and hides and calls the sheriff, who comes over there trying to save Liv. After that, Cammy the chameleon comes in and says, "I'm not like them. I'm good. You can feel my goodness." Being stupid, Chris believes this and comes out of hiding. Liv enters the room, not believing Cammy. Cammy kills Chris because she's not a good person. Chameleon, animatronic thing. Janitor enters the room, ready to take on Cammy, but his watch beeps, so he goes on another break, leaving Liv to take care of Cammy the chameleon. Liv is not a good fighter, but she somehow manages to survive on what seems to be a shorter break than usual for the janitor. After his break, the janitor immediately enters the room and kicks Cammy's chameleon behind. Dragging the chameleon by the neck using her tongue as the rope, he runs into Siren and Tito, and one punch knocks both of them out, rather than just killing any of them right then and there. They go back into the main room, and that's when the sheriff arrives and points her shotgun at the janitor and apologizes to Willy. She then handcuffs the janitor's hands behind his back, has her deputy take Liv away while she stays outside of Willy's just to make sure he dies. The janitor then kills Siren Sarah with his hands handcuffed behind his back, breaks free, and then kills Cammy. Gets back to cleaning after staring at Willy for a little bit. And Tito the turtle appears to be missing. Liv is able to guilt trip the deputy into feeling bad for leaving a man to be sacrificed to psychopathic killing animatronics. While they're stopped, Tito takes the deputy out of the car by pulling him through the window and kills him. Liv, holding the shotgun, somehow missing all the ammunition, decides the best thing to do is to bludgeon Tito with it, but doesn't kill him because he's saying that hurts. With the keys missing, she decides to walk back to Willy's. While Liv walks back to Willy's, the janitor takes out the trash. While the janitor takes out the trash, the sheriff notices him and goes, "Dang, this guy just won't die." At gunpoint, she holds the janitor there and apologizes to Willy again. Willy, being the weasel that he is, cuts her in half where she stands. The janitor and Willy have a fight, but Willy wins the first round. The janitor requips by putting all of his punch pop cans in a burlap sack and taping a couple sticks together. Then there's one last epic fight at Willy's Wonderland, where the janitor reigns victorious as the champion. He gets back to work cleaning everything and taking out the trash, throwing the animatronic body parts into the dumpster. Come morning, Jed and Tex arrive at Willy's, only to find that the janitor survived and killed all the animatronics. Tex gives him back his keys, and Liv arrives at Willy's at the same time. The two of them ride off together with a punch pop in hand. As they're driving away, they run into Tito, who was still alive, so the janitor hits him with his car, making him explode. Back at Willy's, Jed and Tex are talking about future plans for a restaurant, only to be interrupted by seeing Sarah in the rearview mirror. Seeing Sarah in the rearview mirror, she explodes the car using the lighter that Tex threw by the dumpster at the beginning of this movie. See, came around full circle. The shockwave kills Tex and Jed, but it appears only to knock Sarah back. So there is a chance she could have survived the explosion. And that is where the movie ends. Tea time. So as I mentioned, I wanted to take inspiration from the Punch Pop. What I know about it is very little, but because it says punch, it makes me think of fruit punch, and pop, which means it's carbonated. So, rather than make a fruit tea, I was actually able to find 2 different brands of fruit tea. A Craft Boss and Mistress. Brand-wise, I actually like Craft Boss better than Mistress. However, in this particular case, the Mistress tea was a lot better than the Craft Boss. How I made this was I poured some of the tea into a couple cups and added tonic water to carbonate it. After trying these mixtures, I would have to say the uncarbonated Mistress tea was my favorite, followed by the carbonated version of it, then the uncarbonated Craft Boss, then carbonated Craft Boss tea. If I wanted to, I could make a fruit tea by cold brewing a fruit punch with tea in it, by cutting up a bunch of fruits and throwing in a couple tea bags and letting it sit overnight, or making a fruit water by letting it sit in the fridge overnight and brewing a black tea and pouring it into the fruit punch mixture. Either way, you would get the same results. But I did not want to do that since I actually really liked the Mistress one. There's a link in the description where you can see how to make a fruit punch using fruits. There's also a link in the description where you can rent or buy Willy's Wonderland. And until next tea time, watch a movie and have a relaxing cup of tea.